The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining the ADEA AADSAS webinar, Interview Tips from 7 More U.S. Dental Schools. The American Dental Education Association is pleased to offer this live webinar for applicants, featuring the University of Minnesota School of Dentistry, University of New England College of Dental Medicine, Western University of Health Sciences College of Dental Medicine, Case Western Reserve University School of Dental Medicine, Virginia Commonwealth University School of Dentistry, University of Iowa College of Dentistry, and University of Missouri Kansas City School of Dentistry. Today's webinar is exclusively for applicants who have submitted at least one application to ADEA AADSAS. The webinar is being recorded. The webinar will not include a question and answer session due to limited time. Our first presenter today is from the University of New England College of Dental Medicine.
Okay, is my screen showing up? My PowerPoint on your end?
No, we see your desktop.
All right, let me. All right. Multiple screens. How about now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, so welcome everyone. My name is Isaac Stickney. I'm the Assistant Director of Educational Support and Student Recruitment at the UNE College of Dental Medicine. So to start, I'm just going to go over some basics before I get into some interview tips. So where are we? Get that question quite often. We're in Portland, Maine, about an hour-and-a-half drive north of Boston. Popular tourist attraction is Portland Headlight, about 15 minutes from campus. We graduated our first class in May of 17, 64 students per cohort, and we are fully accredited. We had our final site visit this past spring with no recommendations. So our mission statement, which really is the heartbeat of everything that we do, whether it be admissions or curriculum or in the clinical setting, is to improve the health of Northern New England, create the future of dentistry through excellence in education, discovery, and service. You'll see our core values listed below there, which we'll touch on in just a moment. A unique feature of our program, we have a really large public health focus with our program. So from day one, our students are exposed to long-term care facilities, FQHCs, and community schools. It evolves into community rotations in the third year. In our fourth year, we have I think, a very unique externship program where we have 3 12-week blocks, and 2 of those 3 students can be placed at one of these sites in underserved Northern New England. So tying back into our mission. Decision timeline, fairly standard. You've all applied through AADSAS from being in this webinar. We have an invitational supplemental application. It is then assigned to a file reviewer, reviewed by the admissions committee. Our interviews are sent via email from our centralized Office of Graduate Professional Admissions.
Excuse me, Isaac, your slides aren't advancing.
Oh, all right. I will just go. Okay, it's because I have multiple screens. I can do it manually. All right, so decision timeline, we apply via AADSAS, and then email from professional and graduate admissions. And decisions are sent after interview on December 1st. Interview timeline, so our interviews are all on Thursdays, September 21st, 28th, 2 in October, and 2 in November. So we have morning and afternoon sessions, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. for mornings, and then 11 a.m. to 4:15 p.m. for afternoons. Morning schedule, so we check in, introductions, we use multiple mini interviews or a Q&A with the CDM administration. So we have 2 groups that flip-flop during this time. We'll have a tour of current students, and then we have an overview of centralized student services, which includes graduate admissions, graduate student affairs, and graduate financial aid. One thing I will say, regardless of whether you're in the morning or afternoon session, our airport, Portland International Jetport, so PWM, if you're looking online, it's about 15 minutes away, so try to plan your flights accordingly with that schedule in mind. Tours aren't required to go on, but we do strongly recommend it. It's potentially your home for the next 4 years. We want you to get a sense for the campus community, and also we really strongly recommend that candidates explore the area because it could be your home for the next 4 years. So we use MMIs, so we're looking at soft skills that you'll use in the clinical and classroom setting. And again, it all goes back to our mission and vision. So every question that we ask ties to a core value. And this next slide is not to scare you, but to give you an idea of really the emphasis on fit. We receive, as every other dental school does, an excess of qualified candidates. So we're really looking beyond academic metrics when we're looking at fit. If someone is invited and attends an interview day, it's assumed that they can get through the curriculum. So we really do emphasize fit with our mission and vision. So how does it work in terms of structure? So we have 6 stations. It takes an hour to complete. You have 2 minutes to read a station on a door, 7 minutes to answer the question prompts with 1 interviewer, and then you have 1 minute to move on to the next station. In terms of supplementary materials, we do not accept any, so we don't require a resume, portfolio, things of that nature. Our interviews are blind file, so the only thing the interviewers will know about you is your name on the schedule, and interviewers include a collection of faculty, senior staff, community dentists, and students. So the typical breakdown is 3 faculty members, 2 staff members, and then we always have 1 student on that rotation of 6. So during the day, when you see the question on the door, we do give you a clipboard and some note paper so you can take any notes prior to entering the room. The question itself is inside the room, so we don't want you to be worried about memorizing the question before you go in and answer. You'll enter the room, introduce yourself, have a seat, begin answering the question, and we have 3 to 4 prompting questions at every station. So they can be asked in 2 ways. You can either request a prompting question because you're stuck, or the interviewer may interject if they feel that you're maybe getting a little bit off topic. If you answer the initial question and all the prompting questions, you can have that free-flowing conversation. I will say that when there's 6 stations, we will always ask, tell us about yourself, and we'll tie it to a vision statement. But once you've answered all those prompting questions, it's a free-flowing conversation again, but when we score you, it's only based on your response to that initial question, because the whole idea behind MMIs is to keep it as fair as possible across the board. Tips for success: review our mission, review our vision, and how are you a fit. So fit goes both ways, both on our side and yours. You want to make sure that this is somewhere that you can be successful. It's not just us evaluating you. Because when we interview, I always ask students how many have been to campus, and it's generally 2 or 3. So the first thing that you're going to do is go to our website, and this is from our homepage. And when we asked U&E, when we had a traditional interview format, we found that we were getting this paragraph in different format every time. Scoring, we dropped the lowest of 6 stations, so it's 6 independent scores. If you feel you didn't do as well on one as you could have, move on to the next. You have 5 chances to bounce back. We're scoring communication skills, talking points, fit with mission, and overall performance. And I'm going to give you a sample question. So this is one, we don't use actors. We just have scenarios and questions based on that mission and vision again. And here are some example follow-up questions that will be asked of all candidates. Thank you. And here is the contact information. If you do have any questions, we do funnel it through our centralized graduate admissions office.
Thank you so much. Our next presenter is a representative from the University of Minnesota School of Dentistry.
Hello, good afternoon, and I'm sorry for not coming earlier. This is Nati Lopez, and I am the Assistant Dean for Admissions and Diversity, and I'm also faculty in Dental Public Health.
Nati, your screen is not showing yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it showing now?
No.
Oh, dear. It's still not showing? Is it showing now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, I'm so sorry. All right, I better hurry up. The University of Minnesota is one of the Big Ten schools, and we take pride in our strong clinical education, student research, and outreach to diverse communities. Minnesota is very diverse. It may not be the most diverse state in the whole country, but our number of immigrants is increasing from many countries around the world. The top ranking countries are Mexico, India, Laos, Somalia, and Vietnam. And of course, the primary immigrants are from Germany and Sweden. You will be invited to come to interview after a holistic review of your file. The Office of Admissions will send you an email inviting you for the interview, and will provide you a lot of information about what you need to do prior to coming to the dental school. You are supposed to fly to MSP, International Airport, the Twin Cities, and we'll give you information about accommodation. There are 2 hotels on campus within walking distance to the School of Dentistry, and I have provided you here a site where you can find more information about our campus. You should plan to come to the dental school for about 6 hours, and I would highly recommend that you come a day early to take a tour of the Twin Cities by light rail. It is very accessible. We have excellent transportation system. Or you can do a walking tour about for East Bank campus, which is a beautiful campus as well. If you are going to go back home right after your interview, we encourage our applicants to bring their suitcase to the admissions office and a change of clothes, so you'll be ready to depart to the airport from our office. Interview attire is formal, and if you're scheduled to come during the winter months, don't worry. Just have a warm coat, and our buildings and people will keep you warm. A lot of people are scared about the winters in Minnesota, but it's actually very beautiful and enjoyable. What does the interview day look like? We have a schedule for you. You will be either assigned to the first group or the second group. And the first group starts at 7 a.m. with breakfast. At 7:30, I meet with the group to provide you with some tips about your interview for the day and what you can expect that you will do during the 5 hours that you'll be at the dental school. At 8 o'clock, you either go for interview or go on a tour of the school, and then at 9 o'clock, if you did the interview at 8, then you go on a tour of the school at 9 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, you will have a break and time with the students. We encourage applicants who come for interview to maximize their 2 hours with the student, 1 hour during the tour and 1 hour during lunch. Part of the activity during your interview day is learning about scholarships that we provide, as well as how to fund your dental education, and about student research here in Minnesota. We accept 10 students from the incoming class to do summer research for 2 months prior to the start of the dental school. Lunchtime is with the student ambassadors and all the other applicants. If you are assigned to the second group, your day it starts a little bit later at 9:30, and then it's the same thing. We provide you with orientation on how to do your interview, lunch with the student ambassadors, an hour tour, and an hour for the interview. This is probably the most important part of my presentation today. What actually happens during the interview? And there are 4 features of our interview. It is 2-on-1 interview. You will be interviewed by 2 faculty members or 1 high-ranking school administrator. It is a structured interview. Interviewers will have to follow a guide, and they ask the same questions in the same order. Our interviewers do calibration every year so that every applicant is interviewed in the same way, which we believe increases the objectivity to a very subjective process. Our interviews are also closed file interviews. Your interviewers don't know anything about you. They have not seen your files. They don't know your scores, nor your GPA. and the only thing they know is your name. They don't even know your school or where you're from. This again increases the objectivity because you go into your interview on a blank slate, and whatever your interviewers will write will depend on what you tell them. Our interviews, lastly, are competency-based. There are specific set of skills, abilities, and character or attitudes or attributes that we are looking for in an applicant. And so to determine this, we ask you to give examples from your past. Our principle is that the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. So how do we determine that you have the qualities, abilities, and attributes that we're looking for? You will have to demonstrate from examples in your past life, whether from your classes, your volunteer work, your part-time job, in your sports team, in any situation in your past where you demonstrate what we are looking for. If this is the way you behave in the past, we can safely assume that this will be the kind of dental student you will be in the future in our school. So it is actually what I call a getting to know you time, and it is the time where you shine and demonstrate that you have the abilities and skills that we are looking for. So if your past college life is a little bit colorful in terms of your transcript and about you're worried about your DATs, don't worry. Your interviewers don't know anything about that, and you go in there with a blank slate. So if you have any questions or need more information, I have put in here the email that you can address your questions, or you can call us at the telephone number on the screen, or visit our website, dentistry.umn.edu. I think I have enough time, right, Emily?
That was great.
I have 1 minute video that will give you a little peek into our school. It's very short, just 1 minute.
Pre-clinic in the lab. It's completely new for all of us. Our class is very cooperative. The school does a great job of pushing that you're not trying to beat each other. You're just trying to help each other succeed. In pre-clinic, you're sitting next to two people, and you're constantly like, oh, let me grade your work and see how you're doing, or can you look at my work and tell me how I'm doing?
For example, first year, I would talk to fourth years who are ready to become doctors. And initially, it was intimidating, because they're basically doctors already, but, they're very helpful, and everyone in the school is very open to sharing their knowledge, because everyone wants to.
Everybody's watching your back. That's the thing that I've noticed. Faculty, everybody's always making sure you're doing the best you can.
We have such a good support system. It's just been really rewarding seeing my classmates and friends grow and develop into future clinicians.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Our next presenter is a representative from Western University of Health Sciences College of Dental Medicine.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you. We can't see you if you would like to
hear me all right?
Your webcam. Great.
Oh, okay, can we minimize that? Is it possible to minimize? There we go. Okay, as long as you guys can hear me, I'll go ahead. It looks like the webcam maybe isn't working right now. Anyway, my name is Dr. Jeff Turchi. I'm manager of admissions and recruitment and an assistant professor here at Western University in Southern California. I want to talk to you a little bit in more broad terms about interviewing almost at any school that you might be looking at, and I'll tell you about what our interview process is like. So I think as simple as it sounds, preparing for your interview is almost as important as the interview itself. And I think it's really important to do things. I'll go through some of these slides for you. It really is an opportunity for you to learn as much about the school as it is for the school to learn about you. Because it was previously mentioned, it could be a place you're going to spend the next 4 years of your life. So it's important to learn everything you can about the culture of the school, the surrounding area, cost of living, things like that. And I think it's really important to pay attention to details. Little things that I think that are very important that sometimes we forget about. Make sure that you get a good night's sleep and stay into your normal routine. It's not an opportunity or a good time to try new foods or do things you don't normally do. Here in Southern California, if you came for an interview here at Western, it would be very important to figure out, am I living my apartment, or excuse me, my hotel going to be east of the campus or west of the campus, because the traffic could be significantly, and to check that ahead of time. I would plan on even maybe the night before, planning out your path. How am I going to get to school? Am I driving? Am I taking public transportation? Here in Southern California, we don't do a lot of public transportation, so you're going to figure out how to have to drive here yourself. Our students typically don't have a problem arriving early for the interviews. They're pretty good about that, I got to say. How do you show up for your interview? Now, dressing is probably not a really good idea. I know they're trying to look good, but it's something that we really pay a lot of attention to. So we feel like this is the first step to becoming a professional before you even enter dental school. So you want to show up in an attire that shows that you're serious. You're not trying to be overly fancy or gaudy. I think it's very important that you're ready to talk about yourself and to know something about the school. Something we talk a lot about preparing our students ahead of time is, and we say it over and over and we really mean it, is we want people to be genuine, authentic, to be themselves. The other thing about it is, even when you're not in the interview process, as you're on campus, you never know who is there. Is there students? Is there other faculty? Are there administrators? At our school, we have 9 different colleges. Are you going to interact with someone from a different college that could either help you? So keep in mind, the entire day you're on campus, that you need to be who you are, and you need to be on because you never know who you're going to run into. In terms of our interview itself, we typically do 1 faculty member, 1 third or fourth year student, and the interviewee, and we try to get conversational. It's important, as was already mentioned a little bit, to find out when you're going to interview, is it going to be open file or closed file? We do a closed file. We tell our interviewees that we feel like it should be a conversation, and we want them to find out, are they is interested in being taught by us, interested in teaching them. It's more about personality, attitude, things like that. Collegiality, something that's very important to us here at Western. We talked about this a little bit. A lot of schools have gone to the MMI, the multiple mini interviews. These are all questions that you should be able to ask ahead of time, and you should do some mock interviews with people that match that type before you come here, if you can do that. Now, I have this here because I think it's a little bit funny, but at the same time we run into this a lot. So this person here was asked to describe themselves in 3 words, and they did more than 3 words. Answer the question that gets asked in the interview. It's okay to say, you know, I'm really not sure about that, but to have a pre-programmed answer in your head because it's the closest thing to the question is not always a good thing. We won't like to see that people can think on their feet and operate without knowing everything ahead of time and being totally prepared for the questions. It's the type of thing where we like to see, you know, how do you do under a little bit of pressure in the interview, because dental school's a lot of pressure, and it's going to be a lot more after that. You know, there's always going to be the most common questions, and these are things that you should know anyway. Why do you even want to become a dentist? Strengths and weaknesses, things like that. And don't be afraid to ask your own questions. You should know enough about the school to say, hey, gee, I want to know more about this. I might be coming here and making a large financial investment, and it's it's perfectly fair for you to ask us questions as well. It's always a good idea to follow up with an email with the person that interviewed you to let them know that you appreciated their time, and to also give positive or negative feedback as well. We make sure we do that for every interview session, that we do a pretty lengthy kind of a Q&A with the students that were interviewed, and ask them, what did you like about it, what didn't you like about it. Make sure that you're going to be able to see all of the school that you want to see while you're there. And I know this seems so simple and silly, but yeah, be yourself. Again, the things you hear over and over are the things you probably should remember. And don't forget to smile. I like to keep things kind of low-key so we can kind of get to know who the person is. And if you're a very rigid, hard to get to know person and you never smile at all, then we're probably going to think it's going to be a difficult person, not just to teach, but in terms of getting along with their classmates as well. One other thing that I would like to mention, as you're sitting out with other students waiting to be interviewed, in every group there's always going to be a person or two whose goal it is to make you feel uncomfortable and insecure about your own situation. If it's that kind of a person, I would just slide away and find someone else who is maybe more positive. These people could eventually be your classmates, so it's a good idea to try to make friends there if you can, but avoid the negative stuff. There's no point to that, and that's about all I have to offer you guys today.
Thank you. Our next presenter is from Case Western Reserve University School of Dental Medicine.
Okay, hello. Let me see if I can show my screen here pretty quickly here. I'm not sure, are you able to see my screen or not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. So thank you very much, Emily, and everyone in ADEA for doing this presentation for all of you. I'll try to make my presentation a little bit brief regarding specific tips for those of you who are going to be interviewing at Case Western Reserve University. We are located in Cleveland, Ohio, and we hope we get the chance to meet you as well. Just a little bit about how we do things. We try to fill a 75-person class every year by interviewing at least 300 people. We actually have a pretty wide open interview schedule beginning as early as middle of August, and sometimes we will continue into the middle of April and maybe a little bit beyond, interviewing as many as 4 days a week. Each of the days that we do schedule an interview date consists of no more than 8 people, and each individual gets 2 separate interviews in a one-on-one conversational format lasting about 30 minutes, and it's an open file. It's technically an open file interview. We do our very best to make sure that you meet with at least one faculty member should you wind up interviewing here in our program. Some things that are a little bit unique about the way we do interviews is that over the last couple of years, we've actually requested that each of our applicants submit a professional photo of themselves electronically, as well as an electronic PDF document that consists of either a statement or a portfolio, usually a week before your interview day. The PDF, the document itself, must be no larger than 4 megs. This is an opportunity for us to get to know you and also why you're interested in our program. Normally, when people submit these statements or these portfolios, they include any application updates that they've had since submitting their ADEA AADSAS application. Often there are photographs or even hyperlinks to the candidate's artwork or perhaps performances or other videos that they decide they want to record for our admissions committee to view. Consequently, we discourage people from bringing actual portfolios with them during your interview day, and of course we don't allow and really discourage people from bringing guests. Our interview day agenda is pretty wide open in that we're a little bit more flexible. Usually our interviews occur during the morning, beginning as early as 8:30, and it's subject to the interviewer's schedule. Because we do interview during an actual working day of the school, oftentimes it's subject to when that particular interviewer has some time available to talk with you for the 30 minutes, roughly 45-minute block, if you will, to talk to you about your interest in our program. Usually when all interviews are completed, they're done prior to a financial aid information session, usually around 11:30 or so, and then we will let all of our candidates have a lunch conversation with students, and your lunch is, you have a voucher provided for you so you can purchase food as you would like during your conversation. Now, normally we would include a tour in with our lunch conversation as well, but we recently are going through a transition where we will be entering a new health education campus. So there's a lot of information that we would love to share with you, but we have nothing to really show you with regards to our new clinic spaces, our new educational spaces. So for at least the time being, we're just focusing a little bit more on you getting to know the student's experience instead. Once you all get back from lunch, there's a little brief checkout just to make sure everyone's questions are answered, and then there's usually, then we dismiss you for you to go and enjoy the rest of your day here in the city or make your way back home, as the case may be. We get a lot of questions about whether it's an issue to accommodate early flight departures. As you can kind of see from our agenda, it's usually not a problem to really do that, but if you ever have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. The usual tips that I like to tell everybody is just to relax. And you've heard a lot of other advice to that same effect. Specifically for us, it's okay to be early. In other words, to arrive before 8:30 in the morning. We may be setting up some things or maybe getting ourselves sort of arranged for the day, but it's perfectly fine to come early before we all get started, and that's absolutely fine. We encourage you to ask for the contact information for the people that are interviewing you or that you have conversations with, just so that if you want to send thank you conversations back or for your appreciation back to them, that it's certainly fine. I want to make sure that you have an expectation that we treat you like a future member of the dental profession, just as we have a similar expectation from you that you are representing the future of dentistry. So hopefully your experience with us is as courteous as absolutely possible, but appropriately professional. Certainly, as you probably have heard from a lot of the other advice, we really want you to do your homework about us. And I don't just necessarily mean just the School of Dental Medicine, but how we fit within our university, the city, and the neighboring community, and in terms of how we work with each other in order to affect change in oral health or progress in oral health. And again, as I mentioned, of course, anytime you need any help or you have any questions, we prefer you contact us by email, certainly ahead of time. We get a lot of those issues, especially when it comes to rebooking your interview day due to weather concerns or cancellations. The best thing to do is just as soon as that happens and you're able to sort of accommodate for that or take care of what you want to do, send us an email or if necessary, call us, just so that we can try to help work with you to make up your interview day with us, since we are generally a little bit more flexible. So we want to thank you from our office and our admissions office, and if you have any questions, my email address is shown at the very top so that you can ask us any questions if you have them. We do provide a lot more in-depth information once you get an invitation to interview with us, so hopefully we'll get a chance to meet you when you come visit us in Cleveland. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our next presenter is from Virginia Commonwealth University School of Dentistry.
Hello, everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Great. So good afternoon, and I am representing the VCU School of Dentistry in Virginia. And the one most important thing is that it's the only dental school in Virginia. And we are very proud to represent the entire state, which means that we are also responsible for providing dental care for a lot of areas that have problems with access to care. Regarding the interview, we have really good website that includes everything that you need to know about the School of Dentistry as well as the interview, and I would highly recommend to look and do you see the web GoToWebinar as well on my screen? Should I eliminate that? Okay, just a second. Okay, so go to that website to get a lot of information, which is very useful for students who are considering applying to our school and also those who are coming in to interview. The admissions team, these are the people that you will be interacting with. My name is Ricky Gottlieb. I'm the Assistant Dean of Admissions, and I oversee the activities of all of the admissions procedures in the School of Dentistry. Dr. Goolsby, she's our Director of Recruitment, and she will likely be visiting a lot of schools to recruit students to come to our interview. When you come in, you will see her and meet her, and that's a relationship that is ongoing for several years. Ms. Brown is the first contact. When you call the office, you will likely meet her. She's extremely helpful and could answer any question that you might have. Ms. Smith, she's our coordinator for any pipeline programs and any activities within the school related to pre-dental students, and you will meet her as well. And Ms. Davis, she's our senior coordinator overseeing the entire scheduling procedures. We try to do our scheduling online or electronically via our special email and different applications that we use. The application process, again, check the website. There are a lot of important deadlines and procedures that are listed on the website. The selection process, this is when you're selected to interview. We have a subcommittee that is a part of our large admissions committee who will review all the files and make recommendations for us who to interview. The tuition and fees, it's mandatory that all the incoming applicants receive financial aid information. We actually have that electronically as well, and that can be accessed freely on our website. So the people who come to interview, we do not provide a financial aid session per se, but we do have that available electronically. The FAQ section is mostly related to the interview, a lot of links and information about how and why VCU is school for you. We talk about Richmond, and this is, as many people have said before, the place you're going to spend 4 years of your life with a lot of making a lot of lifelong friends, and it's very important that you find it compatible with your needs. Richmond is, I think, a perfect midtown. It's not too small, not too large, and it's close to everything. So it's very appealing to a lot of people. So once you receive an invitation to interview, you will also receive a request to submit a supplemental application. And that application, that supplemental application is only requested for those who are invited for interviews. And that includes different questions, many procedural details, and also as part of our interview, we actually provide shadowing in this clinic. And for that, you will have to complete some OSHA and HIPAA regulations training, and that is part of your supplemental application. We also require hepatitis B vaccination for those who will be shadowing in the clinic, and that is our regulations by our compliance officer. The interview itself, we used to have a one-day interview process with 2 groups, as again many have mentioned before, and this year we've changed to a 2-day experience. The first day we have 1 group. We made it a little smaller. In the past we had about 80 people coming in every interview day. Now we have about 50 or 60 people. And so it is 1 group, and the group comes in on a Thursday afternoon. We have a lot of activities, mostly to introduce you to the school and the university. We have a fair, we have some presentations, students' presentations. Also, the Dean of Clinics is explaining about our clinical structure, and the student interview takes place over dinner. There's also a tour of the dental school by the students, and that is on Thursday evening. On Friday, you are scheduled at a certain time to attend an interview of 2 faculty members, and it is one interview with 2 faculty members, about 40 minutes. The faculty interview is open file. We actually do not restrict any information from the faculty, so they are able to see any type of information that is on your application. We highly recommend that you disclose the different questions that we offer as VCU specific questions, because if not, you will also be asked about that in the interview. We do have a holistic interview assessment rubric, and that includes your cognitive and non-cognitive parameters. And that is done following the interview. We use electronic measures to enter the information during the interview, so most of the time you will see, the candidates will see the faculty members using iPads to enter information during the interview. After your faculty interview, you are free to go. The timing of the Friday interview is sent to each one of the candidates at the time of scheduling. We do allow some flexibility with scheduling, but again, looking at everybody's interview schedule, it looks like we overlap with a lot of the schools, and so it's very difficult to find the perfect time to interview. And lastly, I wanted to introduce our new building that will be finished in 2020, and the class that is going to come in next year is going to enjoy this clinical facility, and we're very excited about that. So you can see in the picture, the building on the left is our current building, and it's going to be quite a change for us in Richmond. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you soon in the interview.
Thank you. Our next presenter is from the University of Iowa College of Dentistry.
Okay, can you see my screen, Emily?
Yes, I can.
Okay, can you see me?
I cannot.
There we go. Now can you see me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. Okay. Well, my name is Rachel Coble, and I am the Director of Dental Student Admissions, and I'm so glad to be here with you today. Here we go. So in my time with you today, I'd like to talk about why Iowa, the structure of our interview experience, the format of it, and offer some advice to you. So first of all, why Iowa? I feel like it would be remiss of me not to mention why I think you should interview with us. And so for starters, last year our clinic saw over 164,000 patients, which is a huge volume of patients coming in to receive care from our students and our faculty. In fall of 2016, we finished a $65 million renovation project, and the highlights from what our students say is the natural sunlight that they receive in the clinics and in our simulation clinic. All of our full-time faculty practice in the building, so they literally practice what they preach. They're with you in lecture, and then they go and see their own patients, and then they're there in the clinic supervising you as well. Iowa's real brand is that we offer all of the specialty areas, and for years we were the only dental school in the nation that offered all the specialties, and now there are a few others that exist. But in your third year with us, you will get the opportunity to rotate through each of those and spend time and dip your toes in the water to those. We also have our own placement office, and so it's focused primarily on the state of Iowa, but also we'll work outside of the state in making sure that you are set up and ready for employment post-graduation. And something that's really a gift for us is an embedded counselor, and what that means is that in the College of Dentistry at the University of Iowa, we have our own counselor that's available to meet one-on-one with students if they need and want. But she also, this counselor position, offers holistic programming across the college. So, for example, twice a week there is free yoga available to any dental student, faculty, and staff member. And it's an intense yoga class. I've been to it. So it's really a gift for us to have. We have free tutoring for any student that is interested. And fun fact, over half of the dentists in the state of Iowa are age 50 or older, and so we are ripe and prime for opportunity for you. Now, our goals for our interview experience are twofold. The first is that we want to listen and hear what your values are, and the second is that we hope that you walk away understanding our values. So I've included our mission statement up here for your reference. Now, the structure of our interview experience. At Iowa, we have a half-day experience. We have morning sessions and afternoon sessions, and you get to pick which experience you'd like to attend. We have 10 different interview dates throughout September through November. And on each of our interview experiences, we have 24 to 32 candidates that come. So those are your future colleagues that you'll be mingling and meeting. And during the experience, we have several presentations. We want you to understand the curriculum, hear about our research opportunities, and also feel confident and prepared knowing what your financial aid opportunities are. Also in our experience, we have a writing assessment, and candidates that are invited to come for an interview will hear more about that when you get your boots on the ground, but that's on laptops and is just a chance for us to learn more about you. We do a building tour offered by our current students and a luncheon panel, so you get a chance to be nourished and prepared, and also to ask more questions of our current students. Our interview format. So our interview format, it's a blind experience. And so what that means is that our interviewers don't know anything about you except your name, and we do that for equality purposes. This year we are doing something different. We are trying a multiple mini interview hybrid experience. So you've heard about that if you've been tuning in for the duration of this presentation. But what we're doing at Iowa is it's 30 minutes total, but it's broken up into 15-minute segments. And so your experience, the first 15 minutes will be with a faculty and staff member and yourself for 15 minutes, and you'll have 4 what we call structured questions, and you'll respond, you'll get a chance to ask the faculty and staff member questions, and then you're going to go and spend another 15 minutes with a different faculty and staff member, and they're going to have new questions for you, and again you'll be able to ask questions. So, so that's what it's going to look like this year at Iowa. Now, advice. You have heard some great advice from some other schools, and I hope you take it all to heart. But my advice for you is both internal and external. And I think that there's a lot of pressure to be successful going through this process, and you are all very successful already. But I think that it's important for you to hear and know that your worth is immeasurable, and whether you are admitted or not does not mean that you are good or bad, successful or unsuccessful. I think it's important for candidates to surround themselves with support system that will continue to pour in and talk about how much they're worth and how talented and how gifted that you are. I also think my advice is to be really thoughtful, and be thoughtful in your research, be thoughtful as you reflect and think about your values and what you want out of a dental school experience, what you want in a home for the next 4 years, what you potentially want in a spouse or in your classmates, because these are people you're going to spend a lot of time with, and also on your higher values. And externally, my advice is to think outside of yourself. And it's really easy when you're interviewing to think about me, what do I need to know, what am I going to say? But I think people that really do well in the interview are people that are able to think about who they're interviewing with. So, for example, at Iowa, we have faculty and staff members that conduct the interviews, and you theoretically could be interviewing with both the janitor and an academic dean. And so those two parties might bring with them equally valid values, but they might be looking for different things in a candidate. A janitor might be looking for someone who responds with respect for other people or respect for the facilities, whereas an academic dean might be looking or listening to hear about your academic credentials or what kinds of things you are eager to learn about. So you might only get a split second to catch names and occupations and roles within the college, but pay a lot of careful attention to that. As you've heard, it's important to do your research. It shows that you care and that you've put time and investment into the process. And as others have said, give yourself a buffer. Arrive the day before, the night before, and do a loop around. Make sure you know where you're going. Plan your flights and travels out accordingly so you're not rushed. We want you to have as relaxed and comfortable experience as possible with us. So I've included this quote up here. You've probably heard it before, but you're going to walk away from the University of Iowa and you're probably going to remember how you felt, and in turn we're going to remember how we felt about you. And so just be really conscious of your presence and what you're bringing in. And with that, I hope you'll all be future Hawkeyes very soon. Again, I'm Rachel Colville, the Director of Dental Student Admissions at the University of Iowa. I can't wait to meet you. Thanks.
Thank you. Our next presenter is a representative from the University of Missouri-Kansas City School of Dentistry.
All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, is it in presenter mode or is it in the other one? Just help me through.
It is not in presentation mode.
Okay. How do I change that? that better?
Now we just see you.
Oh, okay. Wait, y'all don't see the screen though?
Your screen is up, but it's just blank.
Oh, well, that's perfect. That's exactly how I want it. Hey, then I will go ahead and get started then. And I will just start off by saying, hey, you guys are awesome. Thanks for being here. I'm excited that you're in here. You've chosen a great career. Dentistry is a great career. It was ranked #1 by U.S. News and World Report last year. This year, 2 years ago, it wasn't ranked #1, but that's a long story. But 3 years ago, it was ranked #1 again. So it's a phenomenal career, and you've chosen it, so you're awesome. And I want to tell you that up front. I want to talk a little bit about my school, but I don't have enough time to do that, and so I'm not going to. I'm going to just point out, if you go to dentistry.umkc.edu, you can actually learn quite a bit about my school, our history. We're the oldest dental school west of the Mississippi. We've been around since 1881. See about 60,000 patients a year. Our emphasis is giving great clinical experiences for our students. So while most students may do, you know, I don't know, several extractions, our requirement's 50. Last year, our average student did 97. And so we have a lot of great things going on at the school, and we want you to be a part of that. But I don't have time to talk about it all, so I'm not going to talk about any of it today. I will tell you we are a public institution, and so when you think about coming to us, if you're thinking about coming to us, know that these are some things that kind of come into play. We have some agreements, first, of course, with the state of Missouri. Even though it's the University of Missouri, Kansas City, we're actually in Missouri. I spend half my time convincing people the difference between Missouri and Kansas. We're right on the line. Kansas City's half in Kansas, half in Missouri. We're on the Missouri side. So we're a Missouri public institution. We have agreements with Arkansas, Hawaii, Kansas, and New Mexico that allow individuals from those states, if they apply to us, to come here and pay in-state tuition. And then we have some special students that we're targeting. We target students from historically underrepresented minorities because social justice is a big piece of our school here. And so we have a scholarship that waives out-of-state tuition for any underrepresented minority students. Students who are connected to Missouri or to Kansas City are also students that we're looking for because we want to help serve this state, and we like people who come and are connected to those two things. And then we're looking for just highly qualified candidates who worked hard to make this dentistry thing a reality for them. And so we want to help you guys accomplish that. And so that's kind of the group of students we're looking for. So we do accept students from all 50 states. If you're outside of our agreement states, those are kind of the things that we're looking for in terms of candidates that would be a great fit for us. So here's what your interview day looks like. It's a lot like everyone else's. You'll come to us depending on what time you interview, at 8 or 9. We do one-on-one interviews with faculty members, and so you'll do a one-on-one interview for about 45 minutes. Our interviews are open file, so anything that you send to us, your faculty member will have when they come to talk to you. And we really think that's a great thing because it allows you, when you come in for your interview, to really be tailored to you. There's no general questions. There's not questions that are just asked to every candidate and don't necessarily reflect you. There are some general questions in the terms of templates, but since they have information about you, they want to know about you. And so most of the questions are things about you, and I tell students, because all the questions are about you, you should know all the right answers, right? No one knows you better than you do, except for maybe me, because I read all the applications before they get to the committee. But other than that, no one knows you better than you do, and so you should have all the right answers, and we do an open file interview because of that. And so you spend some time with us. We'll introduce you to the school. You'll shadow in our clinic. You'll get a clinic overview. You'll get free lunch, which for me is a win. We give you free coffee and water, which is a win. And then we give you free stuff before you leave at the end of the day, which is a win. For me, that's 3 free things in a day. And if you get that, that's like top 5 day ever, right? That's like one of the best things you can do. So we do that. You'll have a panel. You meet with students. And we really want you to get a feel for our school. And so you spend kind of the day with us, and you'll leave usually around 3 o'clock. So in terms of advice that I wanted to give for students who are interviewing with us, I wanted to focus really on what makes a strong interview. So if you're here, you get to the interview point, what makes a strong interview? And so for us, the very first thing that I would say is don't have all the answers. And what I mean by that is really 3 things. When I say don't have all the answers, the very first thing I mean is when you come to us, your interviewer is going to be open file. So they're going to have everything that you've sent to us, any additional information you've sent, additional statements, any of that, they'll have all of that. So don't come in and reference what you've already wrote. They already have that. So if they're asking you a question, it's because they're probably wanting you to go outside of what's already written. So if you keep saying, well, if you refer back to what I wrote, well, they read that. So don't have the answer to that question. They're looking for something else new there. The other thing I would tell students is it's great to research, and everybody today has talked about doing research for your interview, and I think that's important. But when you research, don't try to cheat. And what I mean by that is you can know what the format's going to look like. You can know how long it's going to be and all of those kind of things. But don't try to get way too close into the nitty-gritty and specifics. I had a student once come, and she learned that we do a writing exercise as part of our day. It's a 10-minute thing. It's real fast. But so she tried to figure out what the writing exercise was about. And so she didn't know that we switched the question every time. So she came in, didn't even read the prompt at the top to start writing something, and it had nothing to do with what we were actually asking her. And so she came in trying to have all the answers, and that's not our goal. Our goal is to get to know you, not to make sure that you have all the right answers. And so don't try to come in and do all the research that's going to allow you to get a leg up and maybe win over on us in our interview process. So that's what I would say. And the third thing is be prepared to ask questions. When you come to us, we want to know that you actually care about us as a school, probably as all the dental schools do. There's plenty of dental schools in the country right now. I think it's 67. Don't quote me on that. Emily would probably know better. But, you know, there's a lot of dental schools in our country, and we want to know that you've taken the time to actually look into ours. And so we don't expect that you know everything about our school. I work here, and I don't know everything about our school. So we want to know that you come in and that you're ready to ask questions about us. Second thing that I would say, and this has been said several times, is be yourself. It's a sad thing if you come to an interview day and you never get the opportunity to show who you are. And so I know it's a high stress thing. I know it's high stakes. You want to come in and put your best foot forward, you know, but the thing is we also have to get to know you. We also want to get to know your personality. So be yourself. Don't be the person you think we want you to be. We want you to actually be who you are and show your personality. We, like everybody else, practice a holistic review here. And so the goal is really to get to know you overall as an individual. And sometimes those things that are you and are uniquely you can help compensate if you have things in your application that maybe look weaker or things like that. But we know that this is a person who has a strong work ethic, or they came in driven, or they came in whatever with strong interpersonal communication skills. Getting to know you is really the goal of our interview. So be yourself. Of course, I say be yourself. But be yourself, you see it has dots after it because I want to say be yourself, but yourself is not a dentist yet. What I mean by that, here, read it on the camera. Yourself is not a dentist yet. The goal of your interview is for you to come in and for us to get to know you, not for you to impress everybody with all of your dental knowledge. Most of the people you're going to be interviewing with are dentists. So guess what? They probably know more about dentistry than you do. You don't have to come in and try to impress them with these terms or how you do procedures. And in many cases, that backfires because if you come in as someone who feels like they know everything about dentistry, then you don't come in with an intention to learn or an intention to kind of understand the school or how UMKC approaches things here at our School of Dentistry. You come in with your own ideas. And so understand that we want you to be prepared. We want you to be yourself, but yourself is not a dentist yet. So there's no need to try to impress people with all of your dental knowledge. The big thing is just to impress them with who you are. And you should be able to do that because nobody can be a better you than you can. My last thing that I'll share as a tip is don't be an interview gunner. And what I mean by that is don't put yourself in a situation where you're trying to directly compete with the people in the room. Our interview days, you usually have about 12 individuals there with you, so it's about 13 people on a day. You guys are all spending time with us. We're a school who doesn't interview very many people, so we admit 109 students, and we'll probably do maximum 175 interviews. And so when you start thinking about that, what it basically looks like is most of the people who interview with us get in. If you scored well on your quantitative reasoning, you know if you divide 109 by 175, it's greater than a 50%. So most of the people who interview with us are going to get in. And so for us, it doesn't make sense for you to come in trying to compete with people or try to push them down, intimidate them, scare them. the field you're going into is a relationship-based field. And so we want you to come in ready to make those positive relationships with those fellow interviewees who are with you that day. And so don't be an interview gunner is kind of my last word of advice for you would be. And then there's my information, our information. If you want to get in contact with us, you can give us a call at those numbers there, or you can shoot us an email, dds@umkc.edu, or if you want to email me directly, parhamw@umkc.edu. I recognize now that I didn't introduce myself, but my name is Wes Parham, and I'm the Director of Dental Admissions for the UMKC School of Dentistry. And so I'd be glad to be a part in this process for you, and hope that this was informational. My undergrad's in communication, so I didn't want to talk too long. So I think I'm right at my 7 minutes, so I'm just going to stop right now.
Thank you, Wes.
No problem.
All right, thank you all for joining the webinar today, and special thanks to the representatives from the participating dental schools for sharing their collective wisdom. Applicants, if you heard from a school today that interests you, do not forget that you can add additional dental school designations to your application even after you have submitted your initial designations. Log into ADEA AADSAS to apply. I am pleased to announce that ADEA will be hosting a third live webinar on interview tips on September 21st. The webinar will feature presentations from the University of Pittsburgh School of Dental Medicine, Tufts University School of Dental Medicine, University of Texas Health Science Center at San Antonio School of Dentistry, Dalhousie University Faculty of Dentistry, Herman Ostrow School of Dentistry of USC, and Dental College of Georgia at Augusta University. Check your inbox later in September for the exclusive invitation. This now concludes the webinar. Thank you all for attending.